Good evening. This is the World News at 6 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Chioma Innocent. And here are the top stories. PDP zones 2027 presidential ticket to South. Appoints Damagum as substantive national chairman. Oyo State urges residents to participate in continuous voter registration. Brazil welcomes President Tinubu with full military honors. And bring back Jonathan. Group urges ex-president to contest 2027 election. Details now. Thank you for staying tuned. The World News at 6 begins with the People's Democratic Party PDP 102nd National Executive Committee meeting, resolving to zone its 2027 presidential tickets to the south while retaining the existing National Working Committee zoning formula for the November elective convention. Addressing journalists after the NEC meeting in Abuja today, the PDP National Publicity Secretary Debo Ologunagba disclosed that the decision followed the presentation of a report by the zoning committee chaired by Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri. He added that the NEC also expressed satisfaction with the level of preparations for the November convention. Ologunagba stated that the NEC recommended that the North and South should retain their current National Working Committee positions. Meanwhile, the PDP has appointed Ilia Damagum as the substantive national chairman of the party. This came as the party holds her 102nd National Executive Council meeting today. We'll bring you more details as these unfolds. The Oyo State government has called on residents of the state to come out en masse for registration in the ongoing Continuous Voter Registration (CVR). Director General of the Oyo State Mobilization Agency for Socio-Economic Development, Moro Nkola Thomas, made the call today in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Thomas disclosed that INEC will only attend to fresh registrants at the various local government offices in the state, aimed at reducing the bottlenecks being experienced during registration. He urged people who had lost their permanent voter card, transfer of PVC, as well as people with defaced PVC to register through www.cvr.inecnigeria.org. The Oyo DG also enjoined the residents to participate fully in the registration process as elections draw near in order to elect leaders of their choice. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu was today honored in Brazil as the country rolled out full military honors at the Planalto Palace in Brasilia to receive the president. President Tinubu's special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, disclosed this on X today. He said the president was welcomed by his host, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Ononuga said President Tinubu was welcomed by his hosts, showing more photos of the official reception for President Tinubu at the Planalto Palace in Brasilia today, Monday, August 25, where he was welcomed by the Brazilian president. A pro-Jonathan pressure group, Bring Back Our Good Luck, Kano has called on former President Goodluck Jonathan to stage a political comeback and contest the 2027 presidential election, declaring that Nigerians were misled in 2015 into voting out his administration. Speaking at a press conference at the Aminu Kano Center for Democracy, Research and Training, Mambaya House, the group's national coordinator, Dr. Grema Kiari, said the former president remained the surest path to rescue Nigeria from the hardship, insecurity and divisions under the All Progressives Congress APC-led government. Meanwhile, mixed feelings have continued to follow the expected return of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, his deputy Professor Ngozi Odu, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly as the 6-month suspension of democratic institutions in the state gradually comes to an end. President Bola Tinubu has suspended democratic institutions in the state on March 18, 2025, following a bitter political feud between Fubara and his predecessor and political benefactor, Minister of the FCT Nyesom Wike. In their place, President Tinubu had appointed retired Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas as sole administrator. One of the sole administrator's first actions was the suspension of all political appointees under Fubara. Before the suspension, Fubara's government had rolled out a number of projects, including the Trans-Kalabari Link Road, Port Harcourt Ring Road, the rehabilitation of the River State House of Assembly complex after it was razed in October 2023, and efforts to revive the Shogai Farm in Thai local government area.
And still on the world news at 6, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested 7 suspected internet fraudsters in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. In a statement made available to correspondents today, the commission's head, Media and Publicity, Mr. Dele Oyewale, said that the arrest followed actionable intelligence received on the activities of the suspects. He said the items recovered from the suspects include 5 laptops, 10 mobile phones and 1 iPad. Oyewale said that the suspects were charged to court as soon as investigations are concluded. While in Delta State, 4 persons have unfortunately lost their lives, while 3 others sustained injuries following a road accident that occurred at the second Niger Bridge in Asaba, the Delta State capital. VP News understands that the victims were rushed to St. Rebecca's Hospital today. Eyewitnesses said the accident involved a truck and 2 other vehicles along the second Niger Bridge. Confirming the crash, the sector commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Delta State Command Frederick Ogidon, blamed the truck driver for being over speedily. He also disclosed that they were trapped in the vehicle because the vehicle broke down, so the tow truck was there to actually rescue them. End quote. Ogidon called on drivers to be more careful, especially during the Ember month. He also urged them to obey simple traffic rules. In a very recent development, the Academic Staff Union of Universities has disclosed it is mobilizing its members across the country for a nationwide rally scheduled for Tuesday, August 26, 2025. At a press conference held at the Federal University of Oyekiti today, the zonal coordinator Adiola Oyebisi Egbedokun said the move was part of the union's effort to pressure the federal government to address its long-standing demands. Egbedokun stated that the rallies were the nation's first decisive response to the government's continued inaction, warning that the protests signal what lies ahead if concerns remain unaddressed. According to him, the rallies will be held simultaneously across universities in the country, with academic activities suspended during the demonstrations. Also, the National Executive Council of ASUU has given the government until its scheduled meeting of August 28 to respond to its demand, after which the next line of action would be determined.
A deadly terrorist attack has claimed 7 lives in southern Kaduna despite a peace pact between the Kaduna state government and bandit leaders operating in the state and other parts of northern Nigeria. Heavily armed attackers struck late on Sunday into the early hours of Monday, killing 7 people, mostly minors. Sources told journalists that several adults managed to escape. Mr. Ilya Tata, a community leader and public relations officer 1 of the Irigwe Development Association, confirmed the incident and shared graphic images with journalists. A disturbing video circulating on social media has shown a man fatally shooting 3 young men with an AK-47 rifle. The footage posted on X, formerly Twitter, by user Jack_NG01 depicts the man speaking in a mix of Igbo, Pidgin and English as he accused the youths of using his gun to carry out home invasions and robberies. Despite the victims' pleas, including one who insisted he had no part in the alleged crimes, the shooter, whose face was not visible in the video, fired multiple rounds. He later stated that the killings were meant to serve as a warning to others to stay away from his weapons. As he continued shooting in the leg and hands of his victims, 2 of whom he chained their hands together, the man added, "It is happening. It is happening. You think I'm playing with you?" End quote. He ignored their pleas as they groaned to death. Esther, this was gory.
I saw that video and I don't know what to think about. I don't know what we have become. That was pathetic. That is... Wow, I saw that video and I was like, what? I saw them shaking. I think I saw it earlier today. I saw them shaking their hands in the chains. I even thought, because he sounded like they were not supposed to operate or go on a robbery. He was asking them what locations they went to. I think you should play that video. Maybe not necessarily the video itself, just the audio, so that we can understand precisely what transpired.
It didn't happen. That's why it didn't happen. Thunder, fire all of you there.
I don't know what is going on.
Esther, what we are hearing, this is gunshots, like live and direct. There are so many questions. First of all, who's this man? Why does he have weapons? Why do these boys allegedly have access to his weapons?
I think they're a gang. they conduct certain operations. Maybe they conducted an operation without the permission of their gang leader. In order to teach others a lesson as to using his weapons, he decided to use them as an example, and that's why he videoed the entire incident. One person was saying he was not part of it, but he did not want to listen, he did not want to hear. I really don't know what to make out of this, Choma, but if this is brazenly happening, being videoed, and it feels like we're in a nation where we don't have proper security apparatus, no one is afraid. It's like there is no government in that place. What we see is like a state without a government. That's basically what it is there. Let's move on to other news items, Choma. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Bashir Ojulari, has claimed that some international syndicates are exploiting security gaps to steal crude oil across Africa. He also suggested the need to enhance national and continental security architecture to address the challenge. Ojulari made the submission on Monday while speaking at the opening of the Africa Chief of Defense Staff Conference held in Abuja. The NNPCL boss emphasized that crude oil thefts and other illegal activities around it are not a localized operation. Ojulari, however, said the crude theft and pipeline vandalism, especially within the oil-rich Niger Delta area of Nigeria, have been effectively contained in recent times. He attributed the success story to government's efforts and the commitment of the nation's security forces. Dignitaries who attend the event include Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, Nigeria's National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa, ECOWAS Commission President Omar Toure, Chairperson of the African Union Commission Mohammed Yusuf, former permanent representative of Nigeria to the United Nations Ibrahim Gambari, and the Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service Zach Adidiji. Meanwhile, in a very recent development, operatives of the anti-terrorism squad have reportedly arrested the head of the Palestinian community in Nigeria, Ramzi Abu Ibrahim. Family members disclosed that Ibrahim, a Palestinian Nigerian who has lived in the country for decades, was arrested on Friday at his residence in the FCT. Well, in recent weeks, Ibrahim has intensified public commentary on the rising killings of journalists in Gaza by Israeli airstrikes. Confirming the arrest, an official at the Palestinian embassy in Nigeria said the mission was still awaiting details. Nigerian security agencies have not released any official statement regarding his arrest as of press time. However, on Monday, 15 people, including 4 journalists, were killed after Israeli airstrikes hit Al-Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza. Nigerian cultural tourism packages. Also, this was confirmed by the Palestinian health official, stating that those killed include Hussam Al-Mazri, a Reuters cameraman, Mariam Abu Daga, a freelance reporter with the Associated Press, Mohammed Salam of Al Jazeera, and Muaz Abu Taha, who worked with the NBC. Another Reuters journalist, photographer Hatem Khalid, was seriously injured. Now, the 102 National Executive Committee of the People's Democratic Party has appointed Ambassador Ilya Damagum as the substantive national chairman of the party. Damagum's appointment was announced at the PDP's ongoing National Executive Council at the party's national headquarters in Abuja. The meeting began at 2 p.m. and they discussed key issues, which includes the report of the National Zoning Committee, preparations for the party's forthcoming national convention. Party insiders told correspondents that today's session is considered a pivotal moment for the PDP as it works to position itself ahead of the 2027 general election. According to insiders, the meeting reflects the party's renewed determination to provide Nigerians with a credible opposition and prepare for victory at the next polls. Well, during the 102nd National Executive Committee meeting in Abuja, the future of some top members accused of anti-party activities, including Nyesom Wike, the Minister of the FCT, former Benue State Governor Samuel Utam, is expected to be decided today. The Tom Ikimi-led disciplinary committee has already submitted its report to the party's National Working Committee, recommending sanctions against members indicted in petitions for working against the PDP during the last general elections. Also high on the agenda is the party's forthcoming national convention, slated for November 15 and 16 in Ibadan, Oyo State, where new national officers will be elected.
Scores of voters from Enugu South Urban Constituency staged a peaceful protest at the ongoing Nigerian Bar Association NBA conference in Enugu, demanding the release of Barrister Bright Ngene. Earlier Labour Party candidate Ngane won the state constituency seat at the State Assembly in the 2023 general elections. Last Tuesday, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) also declared him winner of the rerun election held in Enugu South 1 state constituency. Ngane has been remanded at the Enugu Maximum Custodial Center since July 28, 2024, after an Enugu South Magistrates Court sentenced him to 7 years imprisonment for alleged conspiracy and stealing. The protesters accused the Enugu state government of orchestrating Ngane's imprisonment and intimidating judges from hearing the case on appeal.
Former Vice President Atiku has vowed to contest for Nigeria's #1 political seat in the 2027 presidential election. Atiku, a former chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, accused the ruling All Progressives Congress of trying to ridicule and play down the current momentum in the African Democratic Congress. Atiku stated that the ADC coalition will shock the world in the 2027 presidential election, while dismissing insinuation that he might not contest the presidential poll in 2027. Atiku said that he will run for the nation's top job in the next election cycle. This was made known by one of his spokespersons during the 2023 presidential election, Tunde Olusunle. Speaking, however, on Sunday night, Olusunle quoted his ex-principal as maintaining that Nigeria needs to be decisively rescued from the intensive care unit it has been consigned to under the Bola Tinubu government. Atiku decried what he described as the unprecedented thievery in the current administration, highlighting the need to rescue the country from its current leaders.
Meanwhile, the Senior Special Assistant on Public Communications and Social Media to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, Larry Olayinka, has called for tighter regulations on social media usage in Nigeria. In a brief statement posted on his X account today, Olayinka suggested that individuals should be required to provide a national identification number along with a valid government-issued ID such as an international passport, voter's card or driver's license before they can create or manage any social media account. He noted that Nigeria's NIN system, already tied to phone numbers and bank accounts, demonstrate how verified identities can create accountability in digital spaces, as verified accounts make it harder for anonymous bots or fake profiles to spread false information. In countries like Nigeria, where NIN is mandatory for services like banking and telecommunications, extending it to social media aligns with existing identity frameworks, creating a unified system for digital accountability.
Choma Innocent, in as much as I supposedly agree with Larry Olayinka on his proposal, it's quite unfortunate that this same proposal, which was brought first of all by Issa Pantami, the former NCC DG during the administration of late Muhammadu Buhari, and we are seeing the brazen activities of terrorists in this country right about now. Terrorists who call with SIM cards and who demand for money and they cannot be traced. Okay, and also, Choma, if you realize what has been going on social media lately, there is a resurgence of awareness. That is the only platform through which Nigerians, especially the young ones, are able to express how they feel about the government. Oh yes, we have bot accounts that deliberately create chaos with misinformation and disinformation, propaganda as well. It's been a political machinery. In fact, this started way back since 2015-2014. I recall during the previous administration of late Muhammadu Buhari, Twitter had to be banned because of things like this, where they felt like they were destabilizing the polity with certain sensitive information on social media. But Choma, don't you think this sounds like something quite funny? So let me give you an instance. For example, Larry Olayinka threw a jab at Rufai Oseni of Arise Television. Now, that's not the only funny thing that transpired. Do you know what transpired next? Then Rufai Oseni posted certain documents from People's Gazette alleging that go tell your boss to give us details, give us evidence, or counter this narrative that he bought a $2.1 million mansion in the United States of America, in Florida specifically. That's not the only thing as well. Rufai also tweeted and told him that your principal bought portions of land, hectares of land in Abuja, and he has not explained any of that. So again, it's quite funny that after that scenario, we're hearing Leroy Lainka say this. In other words, certain information which the government wouldn't want Nigerians to know actually come out on social media. When you hear sources reveal certain things, they want their names anonymous, but they put it out there, especially persons who have a conscience. I remember in the days, Chama, during the early part of journalism, when we did not have social media available to us, we relied on what was given to us by the State House. No, from the State House, the news agency of Nigeria, basically from the State House. You cannot report anything outside the State House. Our information was extremely limited. It is what the government of the day told us that we put out there as news, and most times there were embellishments, sensationalism, all the positive angles of government. The real issues of underdevelopment, the real issues that were plaguing Nigerians were not put out there until the advent of social media, where quickly any information either from them and even Nigerians have become eyewitnesses to certain issues in the country. And Chima, I must tell you that it's funny actually that this is basically what they want to throw out. And if you look at social media, who are the persons that use bot accounts? Who are the very people that have taken advantage and utilized social media? Chama, the All Progressives Congress utilized social media during the 2023 elections. In fact, before the 2020 elections, during the administration of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, they weaponized social media. That was the basic tool to ensuring that Jonathan does not return to that seat. So what are we saying, Chama, in that regard? Is it possible that is in fairness, Leroy Lainka is actually adjudicating for this, or is for ulterior motives? So if you want people to present their name, then those that will not present their name will be possibly your supporters that will only supposedly truncate or rather influence the algorithm to information that supports your political party. It's both sides actually.
You know, one thing I see, Esther, when it comes to criticism, the citizens, they're heavy on criticism on government on social media, and that's what they don't want to see. Like you said, we've come a long way from the days of this is what you should put out. We now have private media organizations who are willing to go the extra mile to actually get the real information and share it with Nigerians, and they're not happy with that.
I and you as individuals, aside from the job that we do as journalists or broadcasters, we can be sources of information. We can be witnesses. So with your social media account, if you're somewhere where you witness something, you take a video, upload it, tag all the news outlets, you see it trend. That's how this information gets. Choma, who would have known, based on what you just played right now, that something like this happened?
It's more than crazy.
Who would have known the ravaging aspect of insecurity in certain regions? Choma, this man basically took his video and videoed 3 young boys, agreed, in certain regions in this country. And I think this is in the southeast. If you look at where this happened, unfortunately, we don't know precisely where this situation transpired. I saw on X where somebody was tweeting, "Southeast is bleeding." You know, the voracious activities going on in certain regions across the country is worrisome, Choma. And seeing this person do this to his fellow brother just because they had access to his weapons is what I don't understand. I expect more details to emerge from this, because these individuals were taken to a bush by the roadside, handcuffed together. I saw one of the young boys. I think he knew what was going to happen, because you know, when involuntarily his hands were shaking. If you look at that video, you could, while they were standing and explaining, his hands were shaking. The other person was explaining what happened and begging. So you just kill those young men like that because you want to set an example. Choma, in some certain aspects or regions or locations or communities in the southeast, it's like there is no presence of government. There is no presence of government. People do as they like. Despite the heavy militarization across the road, people behave as they like. I don't understand what is happening. And it's so sad, Chama, because even when you ask the state governor to do what needs to be done, I remember the situation with Ibom. They went about killing both innocent people. That was why that particular group was disbanded. They committed a lot of atrocities. You are meant to apprehend individuals, hand them over to the security agencies. If the security agencies are not doing the needful, look for another means through which these individuals were prosecuted. But Iwago was going about, and they even went into hurting innocent persons. That was why people no longer trusted that particular security outfit. So what precisely is going on?
When people have access to weapons, their mentality tends to change. They tend to believe that they have the lives of people in their hands and they can take it away and whenever they like. Or Esther, it's just, when I saw that video, I didn't know how to feel, and I tried not to watch it, but then I had to, because I had to watch the video in order to talk about it.
Access to weapons. It's the brazenness of the situation and the fact that there is no government presence.
Of making a video and putting it out there because you believe that nothing will happen.
These guys come on social media, their faces are out there, Choma. Their faces are not hidden. No. I have seen a lot of them. There's one they call Angel, the other one called Makeup or something. I don't even understand.
Posting on TikTok with their Biafra regalia.
Not just TikTok, Facebook, other channels. They're not masking their faces. It's open. They're telling you what they're doing. I am shocked that up till now nobody has apprehended these individuals. It tells you that they are daring you by putting their faces out there. When ISWAP commits atrocities, when they do what they do, they wear masks. They cover up their faces. They wear hoods. These individuals don't wear any hood to tell you that there is nothing you can do to them. And it's worrisome because that particular region, a lot of things are meant to take place in terms of development cannot take place because of these elements. And it's worrisome, Chema. It's disturbing that we're not seeing the presence of governance in that region. We're not seeing it at all. It's almost like if you people want to whatever do it, but that's even what we want. Safe, make una clear una safe, depopulate as best as you can. Do it by yourself.
But when it's time for election, ballot boxes will get there.
To be honest with you, I don't even think they care anymore about that region, if you know what is going on right now, because they will tell you that in the last elections, without you guys, we won, so we don't necessarily need you. But Choma, something needs to be done in that regard. You know that the same Issa Pantami is telling us, well, moving on to the political scenario, the reason why politics is in every conversation right now is how Nigerians are groaning. Choma, it's so sad how bad things have become. There's hunger in the land. Things are not looking fine. Despite what we're seeing on paper, Choma, it's not reflecting at all. I'm not lying to you. While I was coming to work, I saw young boys crowding commercial vehicles, asking for how much, I don't know. I had to ask the person who was driving me. I said, okay, how much are they supposed to collect from one particular bus? How much? When you have 8 people crowding one commercial vehicle along Oshodi Road.
Esther, do you know the worst part? They are ready to die. They're ready to chase that vehicle if they don't get the money.
Do you know on that express they've almost had run-ins? Vehicles have almost smashed them. I don't get it.
They're ready to hang on the vehicle until they get that money, and it could be as meager as 200 naira.
It's 200. It's 200. I saw 6 of them on a particular commercial vehicle. How much do you want to collect?
How much does the driver make in a day?
And the funny thing is, who are the people collecting this money? These are boys in Lagos State. Who are the people collecting this money? What are they using the money for? There is no how those guys will freely conduct their activities if the state government is not aware of these activities, if there is no license or permission for them to carry on with it. Everything is, if you want to go into commercial operation, become a commercial driver, you aside every morning you will pay for tickets, you'll meet these guys one way or the other, you will still collect money. How much
you
as
settle
a commercial
them
bus driver?
at every bus stop?
Exactly.
Every
so how
single
much do you
bus
make
stop
and take home at the end of the day? How much do you make and take home?
It's the commuters that later bear the brunt, because then you see transport costs soaring, going over the roof. Sometimes we'll enter 200 naira, 300 naira destinations or locations for like twice the price. Then sometimes when there's traffic, it gets worse. At the end of the day, it's still the commuter, it's still the average Nigerian that is bearing the brunt of this rubbish. Because that's what it is. It's very annoying, Esther. Salaries are not increasing, but the price of food, let's not even talk about the price of petrol or the price of electricity, but transportation, you just have to move about, Esther. You cannot leave your house and appear in the office. If you do, that will run.
Not just office, anywhere you're going about your businesses. Chima, another thing to actually say is the fact that because of this, you're seeing a lot of young persons say we're going to use our votes to get this government out.
Oh, that is so true.
We need a government that prioritizes our interests, right? So, but there is a confusion right now. So, Atiku Abubakar has actually come out to tell us that he is running for office in 2027. I mean, he's been quiet all this while, trying to feel the pulse of Nigerians as to that prospect with the ADC. Although he has not gotten his membership card per se, there's a deliberate reason for that. He was meant to supposedly do what you call a coloration of that event, but one way or the other, one or two things stalled the process. But right now, there's no more speculation of whether or not. There are no more talks that he hasn't said anything, or the fact that he would support anyone. He said he's running. In other words, they intend to do a primary amongst all the candidates or candidates who have put in their heart in the ring for 2027. He's also going to run along with them. Atiku is not considering the gentleman agreement about the North and the South. So as it stands at this very moment, we don't even think of any agreement to say, oh, Peter Obi should deputize so that in 2031 he will show support. As it stands right now, they don't care about the gentleman agreement. He feels that he has the capacity to be in charge of this government, to actually take Nigeria to the next level. Is actually funny, Choma, if you consider. But hey, it's basically what it is. Do you think that this will be disturbing? Do you think that a couple of obedient movement who had thought that the ADC will be the party where they will rely on or rest in will continue with that movement, will continue with that party?
What is actually funny was this coming on the heels of him saying he's ready to support anyone who emerges as ADC presidential candidates, with a lot of people interpreting it to mean, oh, he's finally rallying behind Obi, he's finally rallying behind Amechi or anyone else. And then he said he will run. But there are some questions to ask as well. How will these primaries be conducted? Yes, delegates will vote. Will they be persuaded to vote for someone? Because I think it's called the money bag.
No, it depends on you. So if you think you're influential, if you think you have what it takes, if you think you know how to pull the crowd, do what you need to do. So, win your magic, wave your magic wand if you can, and that's what it is. So it depends on how you're able to persuade and influence, and it's basically you lobbying. And obviously, you will need to consent to certain agreements with certain persons that vote for me, I will do this for you. So the big question is, for a Peter Obi who supposedly has a mantra of, I know they give shishi, what would you want to would I say, I don't want to use the word condescend, but what would you subject yourself to or submit yourself to in order for you to be considered? You know that these individuals definitely have their own take
and their own ambitions.
Things they will tell you they want that you have to give for them to show you support. If it is not money, it will be appointments. If I told you emerge. So are you ready to go through all that? If your kind of politics is supposed to be different from how politics in this part of the world runs? That's the big question. So would you go through all that? And if you're not going to go through all that, does it mean that you may not eventually become a full member of the ADC? And if you don't become a full member of the ADC, is there a potential of you aligning yourself with the Labour Party? Now, Julius Abere is not the chairman of the Labour Party, but INEC has not said who is actually in charge in terms of interim for the Labour Party. The question now is, who is going to organize a convention? Because they need to organize a convention to choose a chairman. That chairman is a person that supposedly will be identified by INEC if they go through the due process. So who is the person that will call for a convention if INEC has not officially recognized any of them? That is, I'm talking about the Nadu Usman committee. So on what ground or on what authority is Nadu Usman going to call for a national convention? I don't know if you get my drift. On what ground would she do that? So there's a lot of process in that. Or would he decide to go for another existing political party, maybe YPP or any of those political parties? And if you do that, are we sure we're not going to see what is happening in the ADC's leadership, where certain persons are saying they're the ones who own the ADC, certain persons are saying they're the landlords of the ADC, that the David Mark-led members came and just took over, they're not legally recognized, INEC does not recognize them. It's a lot to actually consider, and it's quite confusing.
It really is a lot to consider.
And
if we talk about all of this situation in relation to Obi, don't you think the obedience will get tired at some point of just following him anywhere?
For the obedience, while we're here, I've heard them say they don't care wherever it is he wants to go. If in fact they even think if he decides to join APC, they will go with him, so long as he is going to be considered. So right now it is him and not even a political party that they are looking at. It's him. So but the thing is, after him, what about other positions like senators, House of Rep members, legislators? Do you want a repeat of what happened? Because a lot of them rode on his name, on his wave, and a lot of them did not even know who these individuals were. They were just, pointing on Labour Party. It is afterwards, after the elections, that I began to see certain pictures and
they were like,
is this the person?
Who is this? Let's not even talk about those who got in there and changed their allegiances, those who defected to the PDP, others to the APC and other parties.
There are talks that they are bullied. if they want to do whatever they want to do for their constituency, you have to lobby to get consent, to get money for your constituents, so they frustrate you. Are you not saying what's going on with Adeleke states? Up till now, they've not given them their own allocation. Why? He's in the opposition, so what is delaying it? What's delaying their own allocation? So it's almost like if you're not in the ruling party, you'll be frustrated. So to have that ease in your political career, or to please your constituents who will tell you you're not doing anything. It's better for you to join.
You just have to align.
That's
so if everybody aligns with one party, then opposition is dead in Nigeria. It's just so funny that whenever we get to hear about talk of democracy being strengthened, it's always coming from the camp of the president's supporters or supporters of the APC. They are the only ones who see democracy being strengthened in the country. But based on a lot of things we're seeing, the other day it was the lawmaker that came out to say, oh, they have to be like some things they would do before they can move any motions.
Okay.
On the floor of the National Assembly, like, why would that be?
Pay money.
You have to pay money. You have to talk. You have to lobby.
2 million and 1 million naira. They said they were going to investigate it. The House came out to renege that statement. They said it's not true. They distanced themselves from it. They said they were going to call for a meeting to actually ask him questions, where and who asked him for money or one thing or the other. And I find it ridiculous. Why are you pretending like we don't know?
No.
I mean, if you hear a couple of them who are in that national, Natasha has already said it when she was even addressing the media at the time, her issue with Akmabio. So what are you telling me that we don't know? When these guys want to talk, they spill. They don't hide their mouth. He said it. He says he has not done anything for his constituency. You have to lobby. You have to pay money. It's worse if you're in the opposition. I was waiting for the House to say they want to investigate. Investigate what? It was just like how Sheikh Husani told us how much they were collecting. They're telling us that the senators are earning 1 million or even less than 1 million. Choma, some of them take home as much as 30 million naira from all of these allocations, all the stuff that they patch in their whatever. I mean, what's his name? Omoyele Sowore said it. So it's terrible.
The allowances, the allocations, or the cars that they buy every other year. All the trips that
they go for, all the meetings they attend, the hotels they go, the entertainment, all of that. Is that not part of the budget? Is that not part of the monies, taxpayers' money?
It's the perks of being in office.
Really? So when they go for all these events, when they go for all this whatever, what do they do it for? Who are they discussing and liaising for? Who are they discussing with? On whose account? On Nigerians' account? If that was the case, why are we seeing a slow method in governance? Why are we seeing a derailing aspect of governance? Why are the needs of the people not projected? Why are the laws not representing the interests of the people? So on whose account are they going for these conferences? Are they going for these events? For who? That's the question. For who?
Because when they finish all of this, Nigerians do not see any improvement in the quality of their lives.
Lawmakers, after they finish, they will be there for years. They'll build houses. Chama, a lot of real estate, most of the properties that you see, luxurious properties that seem like you cannot obtain them, they're owned by these individuals. Why? They can't keep the money in the bank. They need to look for where they would divest the money. So they go into real estate. They start building homes. Just build and build and build. In some of these homes, you will see money. People don't even know that some of these homes is for keeping money.
There are a lot of ghost buildings in Abuja. If not that one,
is it only Abuja? Let's not just talk too much. Now let's look at the crude oil situation with the NNPCL. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bashir Ojulari, has claimed that some international syndicates are exploiting security gaps to steal crude oil across Africa. So you know Ojulari was in a situation with Haske, Atiku's son-in-law. We heard that the EFCC took him into custody and they were grilling him and asking questions. We also heard that he's been suspended. Later, the presidency came to tell us that that's not the case, that all of this are political machinations because he's beginning to expose the rots and the activities of certain persons within the NNPCL, and that's the reason why they want to possibly blacklist him with this kind of false information or false narrative. And it's funny that this is the excuse they're giving us. After you told us that the Port Harcourt refinery is now active and it's working, later you closed it down. You told us that due to some maintenance, whatever, and then now it's no longer maintenance. You're telling us that everything there is not functional. It's just like you're going to be drowning millions of dollars or naira because all the equipment there are obsolete. They're all in analog. You knew this. Didn't you know?
And yet
this?
you were doling out funds every year for turnaround maintenance.
Who are the persons you were paying if nothing was happening in these refineries? So you you thought that Nigerians were stupid. You people bring up false information to make it seem as if you're actively working, and now you're not telling us that international syndicates are exploiting security gaps to steal crude oil across Africa. Is that the excuse you're telling us? Okay, fine. Over time, the EFCC has been investigating all of these NNPCL bosses, and there are quite a lot of them, including Kerry recently, although they said he's on a wanted list, like they don't know where he is. It's just like how they have
Reminds one of Yaya
on a
Bello.
wanted list, and they say they don't know where Haske is, how Haske escaped. Are you guys for real? Like, are you literally you guys for real? But let them continue to use us for Amala. We're here. We'll continue to speak out all of these nuances and expect that one day we would have a government that prioritizes the interests of the people, and that our natural resources will be used for us and not for themselves.
And we'll continue to call on Nigerians to lend your voice and continue to hold your government accountable. Never get tired of talking. Even when you ask the question, oh, do they hear us? I bet you they hear us all right. And when you will know they want to hear us is when they want to send letter.
Exactly.
They collect letter. That's when you because we don't come here and tell you all that. But it's all good. You have to continue holding your government accountable.
Exactly.
No matter what you're seeing, no matter what they're doing, what you're doing is getting. At some point, President Tinubu said, I don't want social media. He doesn't want social media because what you're writing is getting to him. As long as you don't spread false information, if you're giving your opinion, if you're critiquing the current administration and doing it within the bounds of politeness, then you are within your rights to freedom of expression as a Nigerian. Let's continue to hold the government accountable. It's very important.
Before you amplify. When he was speaking with his digital team, he told them to verify before they amplify. So verify before you amplify. That's what we do right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Choma, thank you so much for being part of the World News at 6.
Thank you so much, Esther. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a while.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
That's a wrap of the World News at 6. My name is Esther Atiku.
My name is Chioma Innocent. Stay tuned.
Next is Evening Rush.
Evening Rush will be coming up by 7 p.m. Have an amazing evening.